JR.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our mind.
From the New Center area of downtown Detroit, it's the Mitch Albom Show with Mitch Albom and Ken Brown. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Health Partners, Inc., specializing in rehabilitation home care and private home care solutions.
Hi, this is Mitch Albom. Today's program is a best of.
The best of the Mitch Albom Show.
The Mitch Albom Show.
The Mitch Albom Show.
Album!
Okay, back here on the Mitch Albom program. It's not often that young men in their 20s have much to say in a memoir or book about their lives. Usually you figure they need another 20 years or so before they have that. But Tim Tebow is not your typical early 20s guy, and he hasn't had your typical life. And his book, Through My Eyes, is actually a really fascinating story of a life that's been very filled. Even from his earliest days, he kind of came into the world with drama and a story to tell. And it goes all the way through his time at the University of Florida, the Heisman trophies and national championships, all the way into the NFL and being drafted by the Denver Broncos. He's on the line now on the Mitch Albom program. And we say hi. How you doing, Tim?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
No, it's a pleasure. As I say, there aren't very many books that I read by 20-year-olds that have a lot of substance to them, but yours was an exception. And I guess because you've had right from the get-go, you've had, as I say, a pretty exceptional life. You were born in the Philippines, and you were a miracle to begin with because the doctors there had kind of advised your mother that an abortion would probably be the only way that she could save her own life. This has become a pretty common tale, I imagine, around the Tebow dinner table, but you can share it with our audience.
Well, it was something that was special. The doctors did warn her, and they did want her to have an abortion, and they didn't think that, at first they thought I was only a tumor, and they warned my mom, but she trusted God and trusted God that there was a plan for my life, and so, she went through with it, and they found out when I was born that the placenta was just barely attached the whole pregnancy, and she had a very tough pregnancy, but, I was very malnourished when I came out, but I made up for it pretty quickly, and I'm very, very blessed that I have a mom that was that courageous and trusted God that much with my life, and, I'm so thankful for that.
Now, being born in the Philippines, does that, are you a Filipino citizen according to their rules? What's the deal?
No, I'm not. I'm an American citizen. Because both of my parents were Americans, and I was just born on foreign soil.
Yeah, but if that happens here, you're an American. If you're
that is.
Yeah. I mean, they should have at least given you a house or something. I don't know. Some paperwork, a coin in your commemoration. Do you find now that, when you become famous and known in sports, do you hear from people in the Philippines going, well, you were born here, you kind of are one of us?
Well, I have heard it a few times, and, it's very cool because I got a special relationship with the Philippines and the Filipino people, and we've done a lot of work there, and so, that's definitely one of my favorite places in the world.
Can you speak the language there at all?
I can speak a little bit of Tagalog. There's so many different dialects. There's hundreds of dialects in the Philippines, and so it's really hard depending on where you're at from island to island. But their national language is Tagalog, and I can speak a little bit.
I think we're pretty safe in saying you're the best football player to ever come out of the Philippines. I think you pretty much own that one, Tim. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The Filipino Hall of Fame for football.
Yeah, that's right. He starts it. He opens it. He's the first name in it. So then, now, as I read through the book, some interesting things that you admitted about your attitude, even as a young boy, when it came to competition. Now, I've seen a lot of books about athletes who they kind of try to take the edges off of how competitive they are. You seem to have no interest in that. You talk about being a kid. And I'm trying to remember, let's see, here it is. Once in the last inning of a close game, this is a baseball game, the ball was hit to me at a shortstop. I fielded it and ran down the runner who was breaking from third to score for the final out. After the game, the coach asked me why I didn't throw it to the catcher. The question puzzled me because I thought the answer would have been obvious to him. And you said to him, because he can't catch. Now, you're supposed to write, well, kids are supposed to share and treat everybody the same in the team. But even, I don't know how old you were. It was T-ball or something.
Yeah.
And you were already thinking, that guy's not as good as me. I'm going to do it myself.
Well, it was. I sure remember that. It was. We were 4, 5, and 6, and I played for the White Sox for Coach Langley. And he would tell the team. He would say, "Listen, it's not about winning or losing. It's about having fun." I looked at him like, "Are you crazy? What are you talking about? It's all about winning or losing. That's when you have fun." And and so many of the kids, even at a young age, they'd be picking grass in the outfield or just doing whatever, and I would get so frustrated because even when I was 4, all I wanted to do was win, and I would do whatever I could. So if I didn't think they were going to catch it, I was going to go get the ball wherever it was hit and run and just tag the guy and to get the out. I mean, I was so competitive, and I also think I'm that competitive because I have to be in my family. The Tebow household is very competitive, and being the baby of 5, all my older brothers and sisters would pick on me a lot, and so I definitely had to compete to get my way. So.
Well, but now that's interesting to me because clearly you have become a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal talent as a result of your dedication to winning and never accepting losing. But on the other hand, you're a very spiritual guy and a very religious guy, and religion and faith also preaches, an equality for everybody and a caring of everybody, including the people who lose in life or whatever. So how do you balance that idea of because on the one hand, when I read some of these pages, you sound like a guy who you really want to kill yourself if you lose, and on the other hand, in the big picture of life, losing is just one thing. I mean, it doesn't define you. So how do you balance that?
You're so right. In the grand scheme of life, we're playing a game. It's a silly game, but it's a game we're all passionate about and we love. And so that helps me. My faith helps me deal with winning and losing. After the fact of knowing that it's never as good as it is and it's never as bad as it is. It's always somewhere in between, and it really gives me a perspective bigger than the game, because we can get so wrapped up in the game. But also I still play. The Bible talks about whatever you do all to the glory of God and do with everything that you have. So when I do something, I'm going to go all out all the time, as hard as I possibly can. And that's how I approach life. That's how I approach football. I am someone that's very aggressive, very outgoing, and I'm very passionate about anything I do, and especially sports. And so, I'll do anything to win and push myself to the limit and train as hard as I possibly can.
But when you lose, though, are you inconsolable?
Oh, no, I'm not inconsolable. I do take it very hard. Obviously, the nation's seen several times, I can get emotional and can cry, and because it means a lot to me. But I think most people would rather have someone that cares so much about what they do that they're going to get emotional about it, rather than someone that doesn't care enough to even to have tears or to show emotion or get excited,
right.
And if, that's how, I have to play, because that's who I am. I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to act like I'm someone that doesn't care or doesn't show emotion or that's not going to get the crowd fired up, because that's who I am. That's when I play my best. And, there are certain times in college when I would say, all right, I just got to, ice water my veins, stay calm, and I wouldn't be as aggressive as I would if I just went out there and left everything out there and just, reckless abandon playing. And that's how I play my best, because I'm passionate, I'm excited, and that enthusiasm is contagious, and it and people want to feed off of that. And so that's who I am, and when I play like that, I play my best.
Hang on the line. We're going to take a brief break here, and Tim Tebow is joining us. His book is called Through My Eyes, and I want to talk to him about having that kind of attitude and that kind of faith and what it was like going through high school and college with all that when there were a lot of people who didn't. A brief break. We'll come back with Tim Tebow here on the Mitch Albom.